This is for Julie.
John.
Hey, Carol, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You're good to go. So, can everyone hear me? Yeah?
Yep.
Good. So tonight I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing you to Dr. Seleme, and she's giving us a presentation tonight on heart health, both physical and emotional. For anyone who is unfamiliar with Dr. Seleme, she has been a licensed doctor for the last 20 years. On top of that, she is a certified chiropractic doctor. She's a certified applied kinesiologist. She is a physician's acupuncturist, and that is only just a few of her credentials. Needless to say, she probably has more initials after her name than all of us combined on this call. So without further ado, I want to hand it over to Dr. Seleme. So thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm always shy when anybody gives me all those kind of accolades, but maybe I'll be able to use some of my tips I'm going to give you guys tonight for the heart. So welcome, everyone. And tonight we wanted to talk about the heart. We thought the month of February, with Valentine's Day being in the month of February, that it was a good time to focus on emotions and how they make an effect to the heart. One of the things I think that we all know, what encompasses the circulatory system, is the heart, the blood vessels, and that's really important. But what is even more important is how emotions affect your heart. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. I wanted to address some of the symptoms that you might see if you're having a physical heart problem, because we know that emotions can make a penetrating effect on the heart and cause physical symptoms. So with respect to some of the things that you see with heart problems, you may see things like obviously high blood pressure, heart attack, angina, bradycardia, rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing, low energy, depression. Your spirits may be low when the heart is affected. You might have pain underneath your sternum. You may have pain going down your arms. The heart meridian is going down both sides of the arm, and you have it on both sides. So these are some of the symptoms that you may see when you're having a physical heart problem. But the heart is so important, and I think it's fascinating to talk about the human body and the way Source, God, whatever higher power you believe in, has put our body together, because every organ literally can be represented in a smaller piece of the body. So when you think about the body, places that the heart is represented in is the tip of the nose. And in my book, Foundation of Youth, I talk about the face diagnosis. And the tip of the nose, if it's swollen, if it's red, if there's veins there, it tells you that there's somebody that's struggling with cardiovascular problems, that perhaps they're having a swollen heart, a fluid buildup, things of that nature. You also see the tip of the tongue is another place that you'll see when the heart is affected. So somebody that might have a viral infection or a systemic bacterial infection, you can see upon tongue diagnosis that the tip of the tongue will be very red and inflamed. If there isn't an actual physical infection going on in the body, when you see the tip of the tongue inflamed, it means that there's a lot of severe emotional issues going on within the body, affecting the heart, and it's showing on the tip of the tongue. Other places that we find places in the body that are represented by the heart is the vertebral spine. In chiropractic, we know this has been around for 100 years, that T1, T2, and you'll see on the events page and also on my website, drseleme.com, under the events, we have posted a document that you guys can go and print that out or get that and put that on your computer. And it has some of these spots so you can follow along where the different heart representations are in the body. So going back to T1, T2, that's right here, right above, right in the neck. Right when you end the neck, it starts in the first thoracic vertebra. T1 goes to the heart, and T2 is the sac of the heart, the pericardium. So adjust those vertebrae with respect to anybody that's having any heart problems. And the next place is the chakra system. So the chakra system, there are 7 chakras. They're vortexes of energy that spin. We'll talk about that on our next webinar, the full 7 chakras and how we make an effect. But the 4th chakra is just in the chest area, just across here. And what's encompassed in here is the heart, obviously, the lungs, the thymus gland, which is in the sternum of the body, and it's related to the immune system. So we know when we have broken hearts that our immune system can go down. Anytime we have a stressful event to the heart, it makes the immune system go down. I see that often. So the 4th chakra, and the 4th chakra, the emotion is related to trust. It's related to faith in yourself, faith and trust in others. Do you have the ability to trust that somebody is going to be okay with your heart? Do you have trust and faith that you can open your heart up enough to love and actually have a chance at being hurt or have your heart broken? So this is a big emotional spot that we'll focus on when we're talking about where to put oils, where to focus the emotions when you're trying to clear them out. There's also, if you have been able to download the piece of paper that has the heart representations, there is something in acupuncture called the conception vessel. And that is a yin meridian. So it's a feminine energy. And the conception vessel has 2 points. One is called conception vessel 14, and they call that the gateway to the heart. And that is also what's called an alarm point for the heart. So it's a gathering of energy. You use alarm points anytime you have an acute situation going on. Maybe you were just really afraid, or maybe you're very stressed, or maybe your heart is broken, or maybe you are having some physical heart problems. You might put some oil, and I'm talking about if you take your belly button and about 4 fingers right above your belly button is right about where conception, well, we'll go up a little bit higher, just underneath where the tip of the sternum is, where the 2 bottom parts of the rib cage meet. The tip of the sternum right in the middle is where conception vessel 14 is. And that is an alarm point for the heart. Great to put oil on there, great to do any needling, great to just use acupressure to push on that to relieve some of the pressure. The other part, and that is specific for the emotional heart. The next point is conception vessel 17, and that's right into the sternum. It's right at where the nipple line would be, and you just go straight into the center, and it's right on the sternum, right in here, and that's the physical heart. So we have already 4 different places that the heart is represented in the body. We have the heart meridian itself, and the heart meridian runs underneath from the armpit all the way to the end of the fingertip. And so you'll see that on the download as well, if you go ahead and pull that up. And that's important too, because with that we can do something called, we can run the meridian to bring energy to the meridian when it's feeling weak. So we'll get to that in a minute. The last point is a neurovascular point, and these points are they're acupressure points that help remove energy when it's stagnant, related to the cerebrospinal fluid, related to circulation, and every neurovascular point has a specific organ attached to it. The heart neurovascular point is at the bregma, which is if you take your ears and go straight up to the top of the head, it's right there. So in order to activate that neurovascular point, what you would do is just push down gently for about 30 seconds to release the stagnant pressure. And that point is directed to the heart. So when it comes to emotions and the heart, we know that the heart's electrical. We know that emotions are electrical. We know that we put out electromagnetics with respect to our own vibrations. And that's one of the reasons why you walk into a room or you meet somebody for the first time and you either love them or you hate them. Or you say to yourself, there's something about that person, I just don't know what it is that I just don't like, or that I really love. It's about attraction, and we do it to ourselves, but we also do it within our own bodies. And we have an electrical component in our body that will attract things to us and also repel things based on the energy frequencies that we're putting out. So we are like beacons, and when you're putting out positive vibrations and positive thoughts, that's going to bring all of those good things right back into you. And of course, when we get off on our negative tangents, we all know what happens then. So emotions are ranked in hierarchy, and certain emotions have higher strengths, and we all have them. And when you say that people have emotions that are negative, related to anger or hate or resentment, or depression. You know, that's not saying anybody's bad. Emotions, I believe, are given to us in this life so that we can express ourselves, but they're also meant to be expressed and then to move on. And that's what we're talking about tonight, is the fact that not all emotions move on. We get them, they get stuck in the cellular memory. We know that cells have vibration. And sometimes people will spend lifetimes in therapy or lifetimes trying to heal themselves. And really what they need is just something energetically to kind of snuff out the energy from that cell and make a change. Depending on how long the event or the emotion or the feeling or the trauma has been with you, might take a little bit of time in order to get the positive vibration completely flipped to the other side. But it's just a matter of showing the emotional body the other side of the positive vibration. So there's something in chiropractic that we were always taught, as above, so below. So that really talks about what you think about in the brain is what predicts how the body. And we're all in a process of creating our own lives. And we have certainly, you know, you can't give that away to anybody. You can't give that away to your parents or to your boyfriends or girlfriends or friends. What we create in our life is what we create in our life based on our own vibrational frequencies. So it's about the law of attraction and what we vibrate. And being conscious and unconscious. So I'm going to talk a little bit, and I say conscious and unconscious because when we go into an unconscious mode, often we can just go on autopilot, and that's when we start thinking about negative things. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I'm not lovable enough. Oh, I'm too fat. Oh, this person said I'm that way. It must be true. You know, it really does take a consciousness to think, no, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start self-loving. I'm going to think and say positive things so that I attract those kind of things to me. But with the emotions and the heart, one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is, you know, some of the things I've seen in practice when I'm working with patients on how to remove the negative vibrations, certain emotions that come up time and time again related to the heart. Well, the first one is when we have moments of panic and occasional anxiousness. That certainly does affect the heart. Panic attacks, stress, things of that nature. Feeling as if you're never going to overcome your fears, and you panic about it. And some people take it to the point they panic so bad they feel as if they might die. And so feeling that you're never going to overcome any old horror, you keep letting old memories frighten you. These are the things that stay in the cellular memory that affect the heart. People that are fearful inside, but on the outside, they act as if they're strong. They act as if they're brave, that nothing bothers them. And I think we all do that on some level, some more than others. But you have a negative vibration about you. You're anticipating the worst. Things are going to go badly because historically they always have, and you haven't quite let that go. So you generally assume that things are going to be, you know, turn out bad and that it won't work out for you, even though you don't tell anybody that. That's kind of something you keep inside. And so that feeling of failing, in some people, it can actually turn it around and make them more competitive. And so what we might do for things like that, certain essential oils that we can use that have higher vibrational frequencies is the blend of joy. Joy is a wonderful one. And if you listen to Gary Young, people have often joked about how he tells you to put that in your underwear. And I half believe him because of the vibrational frequency. You put it in your underwear and then it'll seep all the way up into the chakras, all the way to the top chakras. So I generally try to put it on my heart and on my underwear if nobody's looking, or if I'm in a place I can do it. But you can use joy for occasional anxiety, for disappointment, for grief, for misery. That's one of my go-tos that I keep. I used to not like joy, and what I've learned about the essential oils is that the ones that repel me because the vibration is too high is generally the one I need to run right into. I need to take that one. If it's something I don't like, for the longest time I didn't like joy, and I thought, I guess I need joy in my life. I need more joy. But what I did was I combined it with peace and calming, and I was able to tolerate it. It turned it beautifully into a wonderful oil, and now I love joy as a standalone oil. The other one that you can use is helichrysum. Helichrysum is a really good one to use for fear of anything, any type of fear. Fear of death, fear of hearing the truth, either other people's truths about you or your truth to yourself, fear of losing integrity. So helichrysum is a great oil to use for any type of fear that you want to overcome. It happens to also support the body and liver cleansing and supporting the body and being able to release toxins and heavy metals and things of that nature. So helichrysum is a wonderful oil to use. In this case, we could be talking about heart vessels, circulatory vessels. The next one I would like to talk about is rose. Rose is one of those that vibrates super duper high. Remember, I did a video the other day that talked about the human vibrational frequency goes from 62 to 78 megahertz at a healthy state. Somebody that's not healthy, when you begin to get ill, it starts to drop below to 58 when you have a cold and flu, and starts to go to 55 when you have candida and systemic infections, 42 for cancers, and death of your body begins at 20. So anything, 320 megahertz that rose is vibrating at is a really high vibrational frequency. A great one to use for anything emotional, since the emotions vibrate very high. We can't see the emotions. That's why they're wonderful to pair with those higher vibrating like helichrysum and joy and rose. Rose increases spiritual vibration. Rose is good for deep-seated traumas. It's very powerful. I do have rose, and really just one drop, it just melts everything that's going on in your body. Frankincense is a very well-known oil that everybody, I think, uses that can help with anxiety, feelings of worthlessness, mental agitation and worry, and when your mind is feeling overwhelmed by repetitive thoughts going over and over. You can't sleep at night. You're worried about what's going on. You're worried about what somebody said. You might get up and diffuse some frankincense, or diffuse frankincense when you go to bed at night, or put frankincense on the neurovascular spot and hold it for 30 seconds. Perhaps you would want to use frankincense to run it on a meridian. And running a meridian, in this case, would be the heart point. You start at the beginning and you go to the end and you run 3 or 4 times to energize that meridian. And you can do that with any of the acupuncture meridians. Humility is another great one. This one would be for accepting and letting go of ego and letting spirit come through. So, I think that we were having a discussion today about how ego blocks so many people. It's really, I've often asked the universe to help me get rid of my ego, but you also have to be careful when you do that because, ask and you shall receive. I mean, you will get what it is you're asking. It just doesn't always come in the manner that you ask for it. So using humility to help let go of ego and accept life's lessons is a great one to use. And inspiration, feeling lost connection to spirit and to your higher self. And I think that's a good one. Inspiration should be used a lot for anything that we're doing because we really need that connection to source. We need it desperately in order to be able to heal the body. I think once we get out of feeling that we can do everything, that we're in control of everything, and this is part of the heart process, feeling like we're actually in control. In reality, we're in control of nothing. The only thing we really are in control of is our own emotions and how we let outside events affect us. So in order to get rid of any negative vibration, it's often a good thing to take whatever negative thought process you were thinking of and use it for use a positive statement to negate it. So in this case, moments of panic and occasional anxiousness, you might want to say, I listen to my heart and to the voice of love, light. Your own affirmation, if you want, just make sure that it's stated in a positive affirmation. So the next one I'd like to go to is hurt and disappointment. That's the next emotion I see that affects the heart. So when you feel hurt and disappointed, you have feelings that you want to withdraw from life because you've been hurt too much. You're unable to overcome all the disappointments and so you withdraw from people, from life. You may not trust other people that come in your life. You may not trust yourself to make right decisions because some decisions you've made, you've hurt yourself as well. You're frightened of the world. Old pain is still there with you, and you expect other people to attack you. So you go within. So some of the oils with this one, I would say white angelica. That's another one of my go-to. Joy, white angelica. I love white angelica. I will call that in anytime I feel a need for protection, anytime I need I have a need to call in angels. Anytime I'm confused and not sure I'm making the right decision, I'll breathe white angelica. I'll put it on my shoulders. I'll put it on the top of my head. Surrender is a really good one for resistance and fear of movement, fear of loss of control. So just letting go and surrendering. It's okay to let go of the emotions that you've been holding on to. They don't define who you are. And it's all right to actually adventure out and have some new emotions, some new experiences. Every time we have one of these earth lessons, it brings us actually closer to source. So rather than being hurt, disappointed, panicked, and anxious about what's happening, we really should be running into those lessons. So transformation. Transformation would be a good one. I want to transform from being hurt and disappointed into being optimistic and positive and looking forward to life. So transformation, feelings of limitation, stagnation, cynicism, anchoring in the new. So as long as you're doing something new and you're not staying in the old, transformation is a great oil to use. Into the future, another one. I love into the future. You want to use into the future. Using all of these oils, you want to make sure you're thinking positively and not about the old fearful trauma, depression, memory, whatever it is that is stuck inside your cells, because that's how you're going to make the change to the vibration. So thinking about what it was that ailed you and then thinking of it in a positive so that the body can begin to take hold of that positive vibration. It might take a little while. You might do some of these techniques and do it 2 or 3 times a day for a month. And then feel like, I really have noticed a difference. The thing about doing this kind of work is that it's insidious. It just kind of happens all of a sudden out of nowhere. You recognize that you have changed. So neroli is another really good one to use for hurt and disappointment. For people who are cut off from their emotions, it's what they call a yin tonic. So bringing in all that emotional female energy, it liberates deep emotional pain. The next one, so the statement for this one is, I release worn out old memories and thoughts and make my way through life openly and holding the neurovascular point. You can say these statements during prayer. You can say these statements during rubbing the meridian. You can use conception vessel 14, the one just at the tip of the sternum, rubbing and holding that emotional point. So those are just some other ideas that you can use. The next one is mental overexertion. People that feel suppressed, they've got so many duties, they have so many responsibilities. They feel that life is just a constant struggle because they're always trying to keep being perfect. They become control freaks. They start wanting to control their life, control your life and everybody around you, because they've learned that when there's no control, that chaos ensues. Oftentimes this is something that we bring from childhood. You grew up in a chaotic environment. You learned that bad things happen when there's no organization and no control. So you grew up to do the same. And that really does block the heart energy and blocks others around you too. I mean, how many times have people said, you're a control freak, and you don't want to admit it. And that's part of the process too, is using the oils to admit to yourself what the truth is. Maybe I am a control freak. Well, where does that come from? That really is the first part of healing, is accepting what it is that we are suspecting is going on underneath. So what would we use for mental overexertion? Brain power. That's a tremendous oil. It has frankincense and myrrh and sandalwood and cedar wood and cypress, all the things that are going to help support oxygenation of the tissues, oxygenation of the brain, mental fatigue, overexhaustion. It can help bring clarity. You might want to mix some clarity with brain power to increase your mood and your thought process. Sandalwood, I just talked about that. That's for overactive emotions, because it does help support oxygen to the brain. Valor 2, they used to have valor. Unfortunately, that's not there anymore, but valor 2, giving you courage, will, strength to admit to yourself what the healing process that you need. Gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational frequencies we can actually express to the universe. When you really talking and griping about what you don't have, whether it's love or money or health, you end up getting more of that. So if you can just take a moment and use the oil of gratitude and be grateful for the small things. It doesn't have to be because you didn't win the lottery. Because it can be because you can see the computer right now, because you're healthy enough to walk to up the stairs, because you have an animal in your life that you love, that you've experienced love, that you have children that you love. There's so many great things that you're breathing. Just simple gratitude can change your vibrational frequency literally within a second. And I bet it will show you can bring so much more. You'll start getting so much more of what you want if you just take time every day to be grateful. It doesn't take long. Harmony is another great oil, bringing you back down to ground zero. So mental exertion, you're all over the place, you're scattered, perhaps you're a control freak, perhaps you're just, disorganized. Harmony, bringing your physical, mental, and emotional, all the realms back down to ground zero. The oil believe is a really good one. Holding on to new belief patterns that you're trying to integrate, you can use that with. So when you're trying to release something old and you want to incorporate something new, the statement for this is, I am confident that I can get stronger with each new task. So rather than griping about, oh, life is so hard, I have so many responsibilities, say to yourself, every time I do something good, I am getting stronger. So, and you can use believe for that. And bergamot is another really good one that calms the shin of the body and can uplift the spirit. And it does, and bergamot smells fabulous as well. The next emotion is fear of being out of control. And being out of control is a feeling of introversion. You want to go inward. You're always feeling uptight. You're very tense. You're compulsive. You almost sometimes fear that you may go crazy someday because you can't express the emotions. You can't get them out. You feel locked in. You don't know how to get out, and you feel like there's no hope either. So feeling under pressure from others' expectations of what you should be and who you are. And so you want to excel at everything, and your own ambitions make you feel uptight, and life just becomes unbearable to the point you don't feel like you can breathe. So things for this one could be grounding. Grounding is a really good oil to use for when you're feeling spaced out, when you can't focus, when you're in a distressing situation. Maybe you're going through a breakup or divorce. Maybe you're worried about money and you can't pay your bills. Maybe your children are in trouble with the law. Who knows? Something to bring you back down to earth so that you can function and put one foot in front of the other. Cypress is another great oil that promotes circulation, lymph flow, blood flow to the brain. It can help regulate, and alleviate blood flow if there's stagnant blood flow, and can help you to cope with accept difficult changes, both inward in your body as well as things that happen outward to you. Harmony, we talked about bringing the physical, spiritual, and emotional realms together. And then there's surrender again, overbearing in what we want, or the inability to let the truth in or accept it. I think that's a really good one. Inability to let the truth in or accept it. We as humans have a hard time accepting the truth, looking in the mirror and loving ourselves in spite of everything that we have to admit. You are just human. And I believe Source, God, universe knew we were come here and do all the things we did. There's no guilt. There's no right or wrong. It's all about free will and experiencing. That's what life to me is about, experiencing, stepping out of the fear and saying, well, it looks dark in there, but I know I'm going to be protected. I'm taking a chance anyway. It's a new adventure. So geranium is a good one. Geranium is nourishing the feminine creativity of the intellectual, the ideal for the workaholic perfectionist who has forgotten imagination, intuition, and sensory experience. Rationality and personal drive deny the place of feeling. So surrender is a really good one. It's also a great one that helps the body balance hormones, which is something that can make our emotions completely out of whack. So, and the last one is, the statement that goes with the fear. I view obstacles and difficulties as opportunities to grow and keep my eyes and ears open for new avenues. So essentially just welcoming the unknown, which I think we all deal with many times, but it makes life more joyous, switching it up, changing it up, having adventure. The last one is feeling apprehensive about old fears that haunt you, feeling that you're alone in life, feeling very frightened to the point that you actually have phobias, fear and worrying overcoming you and weighing you down, untrusting because you've been hurt so badly and you still have not been able to overcome it. So some things for this might be Sarah. Sarah essential oil is good for clearing emotional trauma, allowing you to move to mental clarity. You might want to combine that with clarity. 3 Wise Men, that's a wonderful one. I love the way 3 Wise Men smell. That is great for grounding and deep-seated trauma. And also opening up the shut. You might use 3 Wise Men on the neurovascular point and put a little bit on the crown chakra and protect you from negative energy. Rose, increasing spiritual awareness and focus, peace and calming, which is one of my favorite. I actually use that whenever I have a tension headache. So it just makes me feel so much better. Peace and calming when you're feeling like for addictions, when you're feeling depressed. Vetiver is another good oil to use, the ability to cool and nourish the body. Vetiver is used in a lot of perfumes in the industry as well. Relax an overheated, hyperactive mind. Relax insecure emotions. People who strive for perfection but never still enough to let perfection be. Boy, that's a good one. That's one that I could use too. Always thinking that you need to do one more step, one more time, and you'll finally get it right. You need to know a little bit more. Once you know this, or you learn that, or got this degree, you're going to be perfect all of a sudden. Not really realizing that you're just perfect just the way you are. So worries, I know that they are part of life, and my growth will not be held back by them. And so those are some of the more popular things that I see when I'm working with people related to how we're releasing the emotions and the oils. Young Living has other products that I think are really, really wonderful that unfortunately we won't have time to talk about. But I would suggest that you go and you look at them, because I do have patients on them. I take them myself. And for anybody that's interested in doing a Skype session, if you're not in the area, you can go to my website at drseleme.com, where you can find the download that I'm talking about if you haven't been able to get it. It is on my website underneath the tab for this event. It's right on the front page. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll see document. But you can also sign up for a online Skype, or I do remote sessions with people, either putting together nutritional protocols for them, working with them with autoimmune issues, and a number of other things. So the other ones I wanted you to look at, the Young Living products, are omega eyes. That's for a healthy heart, omega-3 fatty acids. That is an omega-3 fatty acid. It also has CoQ10 in it, which is a wonderful nutrient to help regenerate ATP for the heart and helps reduce inflammation. Their flagship product, Ninja Red, is, of course, it's it has a ton of antioxidants in it, and it's very similar to the goji berry, and it tastes like candy. It's got no sugar in it, but it can be very addicting, and it's great to mix with club soda. But that's something you can do every day as a heart healthy drink instead of a soda. They've got longevity, which is has very high antioxidant levels of essential oils, which is another really good thing to take every day. And then MindWise. It's a liquid, and it's called MindWise, and it has L-carnitine, CoQ10, which those two things do help heart health and heart muscle on a physical level, help regenerate ATP. And I believe it has the sugar ribose in it, which is a 5-carbon sugar the heart uses to actually generate ATP to the heart. So those 3 things alone in that MindWise, the carnitine, the CoQ10, and the ribose, are things I give to patients just to benefit their heart on a nutritional level. You might want to look at that too. So there are... I wanted to run through really quickly just different things you could do. I know we've been on now about 34 minutes. For those of you that have to go, thank you for stopping by. But if you want to stay just another 5 or 10 minutes, I wanted to go through quickly different things you can do with the heart, the essential oils, in order to be able to utilize them to make the changes going from a negative vibration to a positive vibration. And let me just say that there's no wrong or right way. You might read in books that you have to do step number 1 and you have to do step number 2, but I'll tell you it's really not that. Anything, just simply the thought process can change your vibrational frequency. Entrainment is where you're taking a low vibration and you're combining it with a high vibration, and that high vibration pulls it up. So if you're vibrating low because you're sad, or maybe you've got muscle tension vibrating low, or you've got a disease process, you connect it with a high vibrating oil, it's going to pull it right up. So I will just go through a couple of things. If you're able to, for those of you that you might have your own VitaFlex charts, if you don't know what the VitaFlex points are, they're points on the hand and on the feet and even on the ears that relate to different body parts, different organs, different glands, different systems, different emotions. But I have attached on the document that I've been talking about the VitaFlex chart for hands and for feet. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what you can do with that chart, you can take a drop of oil. Say you want to make a change in the heart point. You find the heart point on that VitaFlex chart, and you don't have to do the foot and the hand. You could just do the foot or the hand, depending on which one you want. Place a drop of oil on the heart point, and then you can just kind of run your fingernail backward and forward on it, backward and forward, positive, negative, positive, negative. The protein in the fingernail is going to be positive, negatives. So you just run it back and forth. And I would do this on that point on the foot or on the heart or on the hand, I'm sorry. So you can start there. Maybe you say, oh, today I'm going to work on my heart. I'm going to put a little bit of joy there. And you put that on and back and forth 5, 6, 7 times, however much you want to really get that point stimulated. And then you can go to the neurovascular point. You can maybe take some oil, and you don't necessarily have to have the oil, but you can if you want to. You can put the oil right on the neurovascular point and hold it for 30 seconds. You don't need to push down hard. Just hold it for 30 seconds. You'll hold it, and you'll begin to feel a little pulse. When you start to feel the pulse, you'll know that and that point that's congealed and congested is starting to release, running down the back of the spine, and also going to stimulate whatever organ you're working on. In this case, it's the heart. The next thing that you can do is energize the meridian. Now, we may talk about small intestine meridian, or we may talk about the liver meridian at some point, but tonight we're talking about the heart meridian. So energizing the meridian, you're just going to go down the meridian where it begins to where it ends 2 or 3 times to get the energy in there. You can put oil on your hand if you want to and do it that way too. There's also something called spinning the chakras. So on our next one, we're going to be talking about chakra balancing. But for tonight, in order to spin a chakra, in this case, you might want to do the 4th chakra, the 4th heart chakra going to the heart. You can put oil on your hand. You can use the actual skin on the chakra and move it around, spinning it around. You don't even have to put your hand on the skin. You can do it this way because the chakra points extend out about 3 feet from the body. So you can do it this way in a right spinning manner because all the cells in the body spin towards the right. And that brings up a good point. If you're going to activate the oils, what you want to do is put it generally in your non-dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so I'd put it in my left, a drop of oil, and then I would just spin it to the right 3 to 4 times. However you want to do it. But you want to always make sure you activate the oil going to the right so that it's also spinning with the same magnitude and same direction that the body's cells are spinning. And then go ahead and apply it wherever you're going to apply it. So you can spin the heart chakra, maybe put joy or peace and calming or 3 wise men, whatever it is you want to use. And then, so once you put it in your hand, the next thing to do would be to smell the oil. Smelling the oil goes directly to the limbic brain, the amygdala, the limbic portion of the brain where emotions are stored. So if you're smelling the oils and you're trying to make an effect emotionally, make sure you're thinking of something positive. Don't smell the oils going, oh, I hate. Make sure that it's something positive. I forgive him. I love them. In spite of their faults, whatever it is that you're going to say, we're encoding positive vibrations, not negative. Because the thing about it is, even if you think you're hurting the other person, you're really not. You're hurting yourself when you hang on to those negative emotions. That's just like there's a saying that says anger. What is the saying? Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting your opponent to die. And it's really true. So it's hard. It's easier to say to let go of anger than it is to actually do it. But it is something to work for because it actually is raising your vibration. And that's the thing that's the most important. So smelling the oil with a positive thought in your head or positive affirmation. And then the last thing that you could do is you could actually put a little on the inside of your cheek, just a little tiny drop to get the vibration going throughout the entire body. You could diffuse the oil. And so you don't have to do it in that order. You don't have to do all of them. You know, there's another point that you can do where you would use the oil and you tap your hands together like this. Say, I honestly and truly believe I am lovable. I love myself in spite of my mistakes. I love my mom and dad. It doesn't matter what they did. You know, whatever it is that you want to say. There's a heart point that runs right in through here. So you can smell the oils and then just do tapping. If you know emotional freedom technique, you can do that technique. Any technique you feel that works, as long as it's raising the vibrational frequency, that's the name of the game. You could just put some oil in a diffuser and sit down and meditate with source. Imagine that that source light energy is coming down through your crown chakra into the body, and that Mother Earth, you're digging roots deep down into her core and wrapping yourself around the core so that you're grounded and stable. So you're kind of getting energy from Mother Earth, but you're also getting energy from source. And sit with that and just see what comes to mind. You know, you don't need 2 hours of meditation. I like to meditate sometimes for an hour, but you build up to that. You know, if all you do is have 10 minutes and you've got to go to the bathroom to get away from everybody to do it, because that small amount of time is making a difference to your vibrational frequency. And the last thing that I would leave you with is to try to be conscious. When we find ourselves going down that slippery slope of anger and hate and negativity, and, you know, try to stop it. And whatever oil, you know, sometimes the oils will just call you and you know which oils are good for you. And you'll carry that around maybe for 6 weeks and use it and be, you know, just for some reason, you don't know why you need that oil, but you do. Use it as long as you feel is right, and, you know, go with what your intention says. Don't second guess yourself. That's a big mistake when we're trying to work with our emotional bodies, is thinking that we don't have the right answer. As long as your intention is always good, you have the right answer, and you don't need anybody to affirm that. So that's all I have to say about the heart chakra tonight. And if anybody has any questions, I guess now would be a good time to, do they type them in, Rebecca? What do they do?
They should be, if they click on unmute, they should be able to unmute themselves. Melanie's cuddling Idgy there. Can everyone unmute? Everyone should be unmuted.
Yep.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Fire away. Oh, you've done such a good job, Venus, but we have no questions.
I have a question,
Okay.
actually.
Fire away.
Okay, great. Hi, Venus. It's Kira. I don't know if you could see me.
Hi, Kira.
Hi, baby.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
First of all, thank you for holding the space. Thank you for your energy. And I feel you in the Leonian Venus energy that's happening now, and why you're called to speak.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly.
Bet. So my question is actually, I have heard that there's a higher vibrating frequency than rose, and I'm having trouble confirming and finding correct information, and I'm wondering if you have that.
The Idaho blue spruce.
Okay. And what is it? And can you speak for a minute on what that's about?
Yeah, that one is 580 megahertz, and it's not even anywhere near as expensive as the rose is, interestingly enough. But it is one that you use for deep-seated grounding.
Okay.
When you want to go to a really deep emotional place. It's had that real earthy smell. The tree oils are ones that they use for a lot of grounding. A lot of warriors going into battles and severe times, they would use, paint their bodies with this pine and fir and spruce. And Idaho blue spruce does feel like that. It just gives you great one to go into deep meditation. You almost feel as if you're in the woods meditating with it.
Right.
In fact, I'm diffusing that one right now, the Idaho blue spruce. So yeah. I love that one. I love all the tree oils.
And you said it was 580, yeah?
580.
Cool. Thank you, love.
You're welcome. And if I can get some more, Carol, are you on?
Yes.
Do you know any place we can get a source for that?
The Idaho blue spruce?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's
So
in.
I'm talking about the confirming the 580.
Oh,
I have a list of all the frequencies. I can send
yeah.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
We have to, let me just stop recording.